Presented by Listen Headlines. Latest financial news from trusted sources. Updating daily noontime New York City.
BBC News Business.
January 22. 11:04 America New York. Energy price cap. Labour calls for 3-month extension. Extending the £2,500 energy price cap until July can be funded by a tougher windfall tax, Labour says.
Daily FX Market News.
January 22. 11 o'clock America New York. Markets week ahead. Dow Jones, Nasdaq 100, Canadian dollar, BOC, AUD, USD, NZD, USD. The Dow Jones fell as the Nasdaq 100 rose in a tech-fueled rally last week. Ahead, the Canadian dollar is eyeing the BOC, with AUD, USD and NZD, USD facing inflation data.
Global economy, January 22, 10:30 America New York, Eurozone set to avoid recession this year as economists' gloom lifts. Sharp about turn in sentiment comes as IMF indicates it will upgrade its global economic forecasts. Global economy,
January 22, 10 o'clock America New York, will U.S. growth have slowed in the fourth quarter of 2022? Market questions as the FT's guide to the week ahead.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
January 22, 9 o'clock America New York, China's economic reopening complicates the global fight against inflation. A stronger Chinese economy would boost demand for commodities but could also ease supply chain bottlenecks, resulting in mixed signals for central bankers.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
January 22, 8 o'clock America New York, tech industry layoffs unwind headcount growth. The cuts that altogether number in the tens of thousands have made only a dent in the jobs that were added amid the pandemic.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
January 22, 8 o'clock America New York, how fixing notifications changed my relationship with my phone. Culling notifications, batching alerts and disabling red badges quelled the madness.
Marginal Revolution. January 22, 7:25 America New York, now that's inflation. Christian Micheler on Twitter reports that he bought one latte in Lebanon at 10:30 a.m. and by the time he ordered his second at 1 p.m. the price had gone up by 9%. The coffee shop pegs to the USD.
Global economy, January 22, 7 o'clock America New York, Eurozone can beat inflation while keeping markets stable. Monetary policy is entering a phase of quantitative tightening for which there is plenty of theory but little past experience.
BBC News Business.
January 22, 6:36 America New York, firms may be hiking prices beyond inflation, Tesco boss. Food suppliers may be using inflation as excuse to raise prices further than necessary, John Allen says.
New York Times Business.
January 22, 5 o'clock America New York, IVF offers hope in China, even to the government. China is trying urgently to address its declining population. One idea is to subsidize assisted fertility procedures, which are often a last resort for couples and out of reach for many. Guo Mian and her husband before an IVF.
BBC News Business.
January 22, 4:12 America New York, crackdown on forced prepayment meters ordered by government. Many customers have been left without heat and light when not able to afford topping up their prepayment meters.
New York Times Business.
January 22, 3 o'clock America New York, how the U.S. government amassed $31 trillion in debt. 2 decades of tax cuts, recession responses and bipartisan spending fueled more borrowing, contributing $25 trillion to the total and setting the stage for another federal showdown. Republicans are demanding deep spending cuts in exchange for allowing the government to continue borrowing to pay its bills.
Daily FX Market News. January 22, 3 o'clock America New York, Euro Weekly Outlook. ECB versus Fed continues next week. USD seeks breakout. USD has been on a one-way street but may be in for a change in fortunes with key US data and ECB speakers programmed throughout the week.
Marginal Revolution.
January 22, 2:59 America New York, those new Dubai service sector jobs. 14 years on, Atlantis the Royal, just a short stroll away from the original resort, is set to open this weekend along with much of the same extravagance.
Marginal Revolution.
January 22, 046 America New York, The game theory of geoengineering. That is the topic of my latest Bloomberg column. Here is one excerpt. Imagine a world in which one consortium of governments proceeds with a climate plan, spraying sulfate aerosols into the air, brightening cloud cover over the oceans, maybe even dumping iron fillings into the ocean.
New York Times Business. January 21. 1037 America, New York. At Davos, European distress over a Made in America law. The U.S. Inflation Reduction Act stirred talk of a trade war, but also proposals for a similar EU initiative to stimulate green investment. Chancellor Olaf Scholz of Germany, right, said at the World Economic Forum that the local content requirements in a U.S.
The Library of Economics and Liberty. January 21. 154 America, New York. Should we become entangled with our adversaries? David Beckworth has a very interesting interview with Paul Tucker, a former governor of the Bank of England. Tucker has a new book on international affairs, and had this to say.
Daily FX Market News.
January 20th, 2045 America, New York. What leads dollar and S&P 500 to stop flirting with volatility and break congestion? A week of potential that never come to fruition has come to a close. Risk assets led by the S&P 500 broke off from the immediate pressure of a full bullish reversal while the prevailing winds of a dollar breakdown died down on the other side of key technical progress.